The Church of Mavis Radio Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central, starring Jeffrey Pritchett with his co-hosts Wham and Jay McNicholas, right here on the United Paranormal Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans.
Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network. Welcome to UFO Undercover, with your host, Joe Montaldo.
Well, that wasn't supposed to do that. Well, anyway, welcome. There's supposed to be a song there, but okay.
Oops.
Yes, Joe hit the wrong button there. Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to UFO Undercover. I have Jay with me and Leah with me. Leah is the alien. Jay and I are just normal, everyday humans.
Yes. I'm just in charge of the
Oh, God, I hate when she jumps on the screen like that. Scares me.
My
Jeez,
bad.
I am old. You can't do that to me. I mean, I'm old. No, welcome, really and truly, everybody. I hope everybody's having a great time out there, except for my friends out there in Florida who are getting their ass kicked for the second time in 2 weeks.
Yeah, my girlfriend's brother evacuated from where he was, and he relocated to just the southwest corner of Sarasota, Ground Zero. He went the wrong way.
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, people, depending on what it actually lands, Katrina was a class 5, category 5, then it was a category 4. And just before it made landfall, it had been hitting the coast for about 10 or 12 hours as a Cat 4. Right as it made landfall, it dropped to a Cat 3. It was still pushing a 26-foot tidal surge. It didn't really matter. And with still winds at gusting over 150 miles an hour, sustained around 120, 130. So, I mean, really, you were pretty much screwed. So if you're out there in Tampa, or if you're brave enough to stay behind, and I have been through Cat 5 storms. I've actually lived through 3 now that I've stayed for. Only left for 1, and that was Katrina. And thank God I did, because I wouldn't have got hurt. But most of my, well, it was weird, is I never evacuated. And the family gets really mad at me. And for Katrina, I was up here on the coast gambling. And we had been gambling for a couple hours. We got a hotel. We wouldn't spend a night. And we were just gambling away. And I was sitting at the bar playing blackjack. No, not blackjack. I was playing. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So anyway, I was sitting there playing. And every now and then I'd look up to get a sip of my White Russian. And I'd see the storm would do like oh, what the hell is this? And I watched it for about 4 hours because and then I said, you know what? This thing keeps jogging every now and then towards the west. I'm like, it's moving back towards New Orleans. So I went and dug up Linda, found out where she was. I said, come on, we're leaving. We're going home. We get on the phone and start waiting. This is like 4 o'clock in the morning, by the way. So I said, get on the phone and start calling everybody. So everybody freaked out immediately because I never leave. So when I said leave, they were all like, what, leave? What? Beep, beep, beep. There's all kind of stuff going on. My oldest and youngest stepdaughter were living together at the time. They got out of their apartment. Thank God they did, because the top floor collapsed into the bottom floor where they were living. The whole complex was just wiped. They got 8 foot of water inside of it. And then, like I said, the top collapsed inside it. So you'd have been trapped there. It was pretty much a nightmare. My middle stepdaughter, who lived out in Slidell, had 12 foot of water in her house. So thank God she left. Lake Pontchartrain just basically moved into her house with her, is what happened there. It said, hey, push on over. We're going to come stay with you for a while. Most of the people in the city of New Orleans got anywhere from 3 to 9 feet. I was lucky. The duplex we had that was on a ridge, so we got about 6 inches of water in the house. and everybody went in because we had a big crew with us. Everybody went in and pulled all the baseboards out, pulled all the carpets out, and one of the windows got busted upstairs, so the carpet had to come out. But other than that, there was a little damage. Hooked the generators up, started going to work and back to living and going to work like it. Even though we was living in the middle of just a complete and utter disaster, though, and it was every day for us. You know, it was just like, okay, kids loved it. They would, to them, I made it an adventure for them. It was like this is like insane. Taking them into the convenience, letting them sneak around at convenience stores because all the windows were busted out. The ATM machines would pull that. It is so funny watching that somebody try to steal an ATM machine. I watched this guy. He ripped his whole back bump off his truck.
God, yeah, the videos of those are so hilarious.
I'm laughing, and I know a guy who owns an ATM company down here. He's a really nice guy too, and they put these things in to stay unless they're in like a casino or somewhere.
Yeah, but even the freestanding ones, they're really heavy.
Yeah, they're really heavy, but they usually bolt them down into the concrete. They usually
right, yeah, on top of that, yeah.
Yeah, so there's usually 4 lag sets, about 8 or 10 inches of concrete, so they're just not going anywhere. And trying to get into the box is a nightmare. I mean, you better have some don't torches. You're going to burn the money at people. I mean, I watched this all over the metro area because there was very few people. The cops weren't here, so we were here 2 days after the storm passed, and there was no lights, nobody. It was a handful of us around. You could see where the crowds had gone through, like the places near interstate, and raped and robbed and pillaged the place, not the people. Took everything there was to take, or took all the food, took the cigarettes,
took anything that was worth anything.
Whatever they could get their hands on. And I knew a guy who owned 3 of the convenience stores, this guy Jackson. He calls me. I said, dude, and he said, whatever you need, just go in and take it. He said, give my number to cops if they see you in there. He said, because I was a long time customer. I actually called him and told him about the store. I said, look, I can board this place up for you. I got a crew in town. And that's what I did. I boarded it up and put a lock on it. The other 2 were fine for some reason. It was just this one was next to interstate. Anything next to interstate where the crossovers were, the ramps.
Well, where the evacuation routes are, yeah. Everybody
like the Denny's, they just flattened the place. The IHOP was flattened. They were cooking, and it was just anyway. It was insane to watch. But I will tell you, the thing that shocked me the most, everybody said, "Oh, it's got to be the damage, the death." The thing that shocked me the most is I was sitting out on my porch. I still smoked cigarettes at the time, and sitting there smoking a cigarette because we only had like one window unit in the house or something. And I looked up, and there was the Milky Way. I was like, "What the?" Yeah. I mean, literally, the arm came right through the middle of the city, right through 30-degree parallel. I was like, look at, I had no idea. I was raised. I mean, when I was young, there was some stars, but not like this. No, I don't even see that out where I live right now.
Yeah, and until you go to like Colorado or Utah, you just have no idea how many are out there.
People, you go to Utah, you will realize there is a sky over your head. I mean, a serious sky.
Yeah, it's so vast. Did I ever tell you that story about Katrina when we got evac?
What?
So I remember we were evac from Savannah. I was in Savannah, Georgia, and it was a weird story because it was supposed to hit us, and then it turned track and hit you guys. But we were evacuated. And I was driving. We were going up the road, the highway that goes to Atlanta out of town. I forget the number, 75, I think maybe. And my friend and I were caravanning. Let me put my camera on. And I had my 2 cats, all of my guns, and whatever clothes I could pack up. I don't know what my friend had. And we decided we'd be sitting in traffic. We hadn't even left town. I mean, we were like literally 10 minutes outside of city limits on the highway. And we're like, we haven't gone anywhere for 3 hours. So we pull off to this shoulder. I feed my cats. We get a couple things of snacks out of the thing. And then we go up this hill where there's a fence and a road and a cornfield. And we just smoking cigarettes and talking, just waiting hoping the traffic starts to flow again. And it's amazing. And people are in stress, are in danger. They're leaving their homes behind. And those who aren't leaving become predators. So these punk teenagers come driving up the road towards the fence where my friend and I are standing, turns and drives down the other side of the road. And we're like, whatever. 5 minutes later, that same truck comes down the other side of the road. It must have gone all the way around the whole farm or whatever that was out there, the cornfield, and came back. And the driver, in a deep Georgia accent, goes, "Hey, y'all get effed up by that hurricane?" Exact wording. I'm not making that up. And I had my 45, not my 45, my 1911. It was a 9mm Springfield 1911 handgun on my side, and I had a concealed carry permit, so it was under my jacket. So to answer the gentleman's question, I stood up, fanned my jacket back, and like a stripper, presented my hips to him with this big shiny gun. And I said, "Yeah, we got evacuated." And boom, they took off. The entire truck, the front cab was with like 4 or 5 teenagers, and the entire back pickup bed with another 8 or 10 teenagers. We're going to jump that fence and beat our ass if they hadn't seen that.
Well, yeah, that's
They were
part
going
of
to
it.
prey on people evacuating the city because of a hurricane, the big hurricane.
Shit, it was so funny because like the first 5 or 6 weeks, I was probably the only person in an 8-mile radius that was packing because
It's
most
weird,
everybody
isn't it?
was going. The cops, what few cops they were up in the city. They weren't down in the suburbs with us, and nobody else. Most everybody else was going. And a few people you did see, most of them didn't have guns because they were illegals to start off with, trying to find work and stuff like that. It was insane. But the 45 stayed on my side the entire time. There was always where you could see it. The bitch part was I honestly never thought I'd have to use it on a person. I was just worried that I might walk up on an alligator. And actually, I was going to bid a job out walking in the backyard. And this poor dog's been there like 3 weeks chained to a thing. All his food's going. He done ate the whole bag of food. Barely any water out there. I was like, oh man. And he did not like me being in his backyard either. I thought for sure I was gonna have to shoot this dog. And but then I went in my car. I had a half of a Big Mac in my car, so I went in my truck and got it and brought it back to him. And I chained him up, threw him back in my truck, took him to a friend of mine. I was like, it's the first time I thought I was gonna have to shoot anything though. People. If you want a boat,
stories about the most recent hurricane, Helene, with the animals being people with private planes, propeller planes, and jet planes are going down to these disaster areas, getting this, lost pets that have been abandoned, and pets whose parent, or maybe their family's dead, and bringing them up here into like Pennsylvania and Maryland to get adopted. So there's a lot of. It's not just us that are in peril. The whole
there's a lot goes on.
Yeah,
Brendan, no, we're gonna talk about it in a little while. Well, there's a lot going on in Florida. I got actually my granddaughter's down there, crazy person that she is.
Yeah,
she's in Tampa too. She's insane.
Oof.
But she comes by it naturally. I mean, yeah, I was Betsy and Camille. Well, Betsy was not even 3 blocks from where I'm sitting right here. They did a mandatory evacuation after the storm had started. And my dad was trying to get us up. We hit this big, huge white Cadillac, the ones with the big fin tails on it. And so we drive up the road, get on the top of the road, going up the road, and a wave just came out of nowhere, just swept the car. It must have come around because it came from the bay and swept the car and was carrying it out to the Gulf. And I mean, it was just dragging us along like we were nothing. And by some miracle, there was a chain link fence between the Gulf and the car, and it wrapped around the tailpipe of the car and hung on to it. Wrapped around the whole drive shaft of the car, actually.
Wow.
It just froze it there. So the car wasn't going anywhere. And it was high enough up with the car holding up that you could see the water coming in the car. The memories I got are the weird ones, like, they had the red and white lights like in the back seats on the doors when the doors were open. I remember watching the car filling up with water and the lights were still on. I was like 3, I think, or 4. I was like, shit, is that supposed to work like that? My mom was freaking out because my mom couldn't swim, a stroke. And my dad went swim and got help, came back, saved us. So we both survived it. Right smack in the middle of the height of the storm. Yeah, it was waves rolling everywhere. That wave that came over the road, because if you go and measure the road right now from where I'm at, it would have to have been right around 26, 28 feet to crest the road and to be able to lift up the car and carry it the other way. I was like, it's pretty serious. And then I was actually in Florida for Andrew. We were down there actually working. We were in Dade County when it hit. Lucky we didn't get killed down there. I was at home for Camille, but it was just, a storm. And then I was at home for Katrina until I decided to leave an hour before, not an hour before, but Actually, guys, I'll tell you a little secret. So if you've been around as many storms as I've people ask me sometimes how many storms you've been in. Probably 15, 18. Well, we work storms, so not always, but sometimes. So 15, 18, maybe even 20. I'd have to sit down and count them. In the last couple of years, probably 8 or 9, just in the last half a decade or so. There's been quite a few, but um, if you're evacuating, you got to understand how things work. First, know your back roads.
Yeah.
Everybody always asks me, how do you get out and not get caught in traffic? Oh, I said, because I know where to go. And you're going to catch some traffic no matter where you go, because not only you know the back roads, but you're going to catch some traffic. And if you know a storm's coming, anytime there's a storm in the Gulf of Mexico and you live on a Gulf state, you should go fill your car. Just go fill it up. Make sure the damn thing is full. That way, because you don't have to go fill it up the day of the storm or something. You'll probably be able to get gas, but you'll have to wait 2 hours to get it. And you may have to do that 2 or 3 times because stations may run out while you're filling up. So, if you're from the South and you're a regular hurricane person, you just know, be prepared and get the hell out when you think you need to get the hell out. Actually, Raymond, people ask me all the time, do you see UFOs and hurricanes? Well, not really, because one, you're nearly not outside because the wind's blowing so freaking hard.
It's also very dark. Even if it hits in the daytime, it blocks out the sun. It's like midnight.
Yeah.
At the height of the storm.
And for some reason, hurricanes like the nighttime. Don't ask me, man.
Yeah.
They like to come kick your ass.
The scary part is the eye. Some people aren't, that haven't been through one. The eye goes over them and it's bright and sunny and nice and just wet all of a sudden. So they all come out, oh, look, it's nice. And they don't realize the really dangerous part of the storm is right behind the other side of the eye coming towards them. And that's when the bad accidents happen.
Well,
but
I would hate to get hit by an eye like this one. This one's only like 4 miles across, which means it's super intense, super packed.
Yeah.
Whatever it hits, it's going to just make up your mind thing. It's just going to go insane is what it's going to do. I said, Jerry, no, man. I mean, it's going to go. I've been in several eyes over the years. And matter of fact, the one that ripped off the place I'm sitting exactly right now for Hurricane Zeta, we were here. And it was supposed to be a class 2. It actually came in right at a class 3, category 3. And what happened was we never actually got in the eye. We just got in the eye wall. So as the hurricane came in, it tilted and we got caught in it. And as it turned, we got caught on the other side of it. But we never actually got to feel the relaxation of the. Well, no, it is so weird to be in the eye of a hurricane.
Yeah.
Because you go outside and you're looking at
any wind. You are surrounded by 100-mile-an-hour winds. You do not hear it until it gets to the other side of the wall.
It is deathly quiet. And sometimes it'll be sunshiny and pretty, like, wow. Yeah.
So I remember Agnes. I think Agnes came through Maryland in the daytime. And when the eye went over our house, my brother and I, we ran outside immediately. Like, wow, cool, it's over. And the gutters were filled with water. We were ready to go swimming in the fucking sewers. So, excuse me, pardon my French. But we were ready to go swimming in the sewers. And my mom comes out and you boys get back in here right now. We're like, why? It's nice out. Storm's over. We had no idea. We would have been killed had we stayed out there.
It's insane. What's that, Bruce? No. Anyway, getting to tonight's topic. So if you're in Florida, we all wish you the best. We know it's going to be a helly thing over there. And we'll all be waiting to see what happens tomorrow. I'm pretty sure at this time it's too late to get out. So if you get scared in your own house and you can't get to a shelter, find a hurricane rated building. Usually buildings over 6 or 7 stories are usually hurricane rated. So you don't sit where the windows are.
Hurricane rated and get to if you're in one of those, stay in the inner areas of the house. Yeah,
get in the hallways of the buildings. Oh no, during Katrina, several of the buildings in the city, the wind just blew the glass out. And this was when the glass is supposed to be rated to like 200 miles an hour, just blew it out.
Yeah,
I really think what it was doing was it was picking up debris and slamming the glass to windows and just destroying them. But they're like a window, they're like a safety glass. But anyway, getting to what we're here for. Actually, we'll be talking about the devastation of the storm, but since it has been brought to my attention by several different people about Project Popeye and a couple of the other seeding programs, we will be talking about that on Friday night. So
Okay.
a little bit on the conspiracy side there. Leah will be
Yeah.
leading the conversation, so Leah better have her homework together. And
I'll have plenty of. I'll
so,
have plenty to share probably.
okay, so well, there's been a lot of people write to me, and it's weird. Even the station manager wrote to me last night about these weird patents. She sent me a list of patents that the U.S. government's got for weather modification. Just it's like a bunch. I didn't count them, but there's over 100 of them for sure. And so there's all those different patents. She sent them to me actually. They're all on my trusty cell phone right here. See this little thing right here. They're all on there right now. But we'll talk about all of that. Well, Tesla believed it was you could control the weather. He's not the only one, by the way. And cloud seeding, something we've known about for I don't know 150 years or so. Yeah, they actually before we had airplanes, they would put this what was it called? They'd put it in a box and just float it into the clouds.
Dry ice in a balloon.
But there's something else they use now. Well, they actually use a combination of things now. So I don't know. Steering, making a hurricane develop is one thing. Steering it is a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
Trying to control something that massive. But what you can do is if you can look backwards, if you're looking at the weather coming, saying, okay, well, this cold front's going to probably be coming down here, and this trough's going to probably coming through here. They'll probably meet together around this time. So if you know that, then you can create a storm to fit right into that, and it'll drive right to where you want it to go. I'm not saying any of that happened at all, but I'm just saying, well, it's one of the things we'll be talking about on Wednesday. No, tonight we just want to talk about, does the government actually know anything about extraterrestrials?
Well, they claim they do. I mean, there's plenty of people who are coming out saying like, there's all this reverse engineered technology that was acquired
Black Ops operators and Black Ops projects, usually that are run by civilian organizations like Skunk Works. That's not the government. So they know more than the actual government does, which I think that is probably the case. Joe, Leah, and I probably know more than most people in the government, like senators and
unless you're like on one of the appropriation committees, you probably don't know squat about aliens.
Yeah, unless you have higher than Joe's level of top secret clearance, you don't know anything.
And let me tell you what, guys, I remember when I was stationed on the Nimitz, and the number 2 told me your clearance is higher than mine. I was like, what? He's like, yeah. He said, but I don't have to go to places you got to go. So I was like, and before people write to me, when I say go places, I don't mean like alien worlds or nothing, okay? I don't know conspiracies to thought. It's already bad enough that I'm in charge of all the military abductions in the country. Yes. Somebody wanted me to go speak about that at a conference. Actually, in a conference in New York, somebody said, well, you're in charge of all military abductions. You should come do a lecture about it. And I'm like, why? He said, well, then everybody would know. I said, no. I said, if I did a lecture, they'd have to kill everybody in the room. I said, is that what you want? Are you like wanting to mass murder a bunch of people?
Joe,
yeah.
Does it have something to do with souls? Does it have something to do with souls and where they go after the human body dies, or even if death is a thing? Is death real?
Well, it's real unless you're being uploaded to a new body for an alien. Then it's not real. It all depends on where you are in the scheme of things. So contactees, or most contactees, unless they're being left behind with the keeper group, are going to be uploaded there. We already know they do it. We know that hospitals and mortuaries and graveyards, we've seen UFOs hovering over like freshly dug graves, or over different mortuaries where somebody's getting ready to be buried, or at a hospital where some people are dying. A lot of times UFOs will be spotted there. And the only reason they could be there is if they're collecting the consciousness of someone. Because we already know they can upload your consciousness into a body when you're on board the ship. We know they can upload it to the hologram deck. These are all things that have been talked about by thousands of contactees. So,
well, what about dreams, and how do they fit in? Because, like, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure all that out, I guess. Part of the reason that I found you is because of the dreams I've been having and like some of the real life experiences I've been having my whole life.
Well, I mean, dreams can be a manifestation of whatever's in your head or whatever's happening to you, whatever's. So for
It feels like a
abductees,
whole nother life.
because that's what it is. So for abductees, it's going to manifest itself in different ways. And see, that's where you're categorized right now. You're not categorized as a contactee. You're
What am I
categorized
categorized
as an abductee because
Because I don't remember it.
mainly, yes. You're not never going to remember all of it. It's just too much to remember, but you remember a lot more of it. And the further you go up the chain, the more of it you remember. So in that retrospect, I mean, well, it's it's kind of like as they trust you more, you trust them more, you get to remember more. I guess would be the easiest way to say it. But they're not, and they're not in any big hurry. They've been doing this for a long time, so they have patience.
Well, what if
They,
they're tired of my shit and they don't want anything to do with me anymore?
that's not how it works. They
Oh,
would just give you to a different gray or a different reptilian or a different human, but they wouldn't even do that because the way they if it bothered them that much, it would just wipe your memory, and you would be like, "Hi, I'm Leah. How you doing today?" And they might even put it back to where you like just a little housewife or a little secretary or a little ice cream girl. You just never know. That's why I tell people be careful when you're pissing them off. they may recreate you.
well,
Uh,
see, it makes me wonder if the decisions I've made in my life were actually my decisions, or if they were like predetermined, or if like they were thoughts that were implanted. You know what I mean? Like, is
most of
the
your
course of my
decisions,
life, is
most of
where
your
I'm at in my
decisions are
life a
yours.
result of my own decisions?
Most of it probably is, like most of us. Most of our but it is influenced by things going on. So the fact
Things
that
out of my control.
yes, things out of your control, things like knowing something else is going on in your life, but not knowing what it is and not having any control over it, can what it does is it makes you look for different things. And depending on what type of personality you have, it's going to drive you in different directions. A lot of people, when the dreams start manifesting, a lot of people start looking in religions or in the paranormal, or they'll get into like dragons or fantasy stuff real heavy or sci-fi stuff real heavy because something somewhere, they don't know what it is, back there is making them want to look. Something that they
It,
feel,
it,
something they
it's the
sense, something.
subconscious invading on, conscious thought.
It is. So I mean, so your mind is like, what the hell? So usually most people will start out with religion, and some people get hung up on religion. So you got to be careful there. But most people will start out with religion or the dark arts or something along those lines because they think this is about God, but it's not about God. It's about ET. God's a entirely different subject, an entirely different being as far as that goes. And so when we talk about this, when people say, "Do you believe in ET?" First thing I say is no, and they're like, "Oh, so you don't?" I said, "No, because this isn't God we're talking about. There's not a belief here.
Yeah.
You either know extraterrestrials are real or you don't. There's no in between. There's no believing. Oh, I believe ET's real. Well, no, you don't.
Yeah,
That
Well,
just
see,
means
when
you
people
don't
ask
know.
me that,
too many things of make it like a faith type of thing. No, I don't believe they exist. I know they exist because it's
right, that's my
mathematically possible
answer.
that they don't.
Yeah.
So just the logic is there.
Yeah. So people who have had experiences and know they've had experiences will answer in that way. They'll be like, that's how they'll answer. But people who haven't, I believe. Well, no, like I said, there's nothing to believe. Matter of fact, there was I was in Laughlin, Nevada. I wasn't even there lecturing. I was there as press, and somebody recognized me and said, "Hey, would you like to come do a lecture with us?" I'm like, "Sure." So we're all lecturing, and everybody's playing real nice, and somebody said something. I was like, "No, no, 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 no." I said, "This is not about God. God ain't got nothing to do with this. God's not worried about us." And I said, "This is extraterrestrial. And stop telling people you should believe in ET when you should, in fact, do your homework and know that ET is real." I said, "There's plenty enough evidence out there to show you that extraterrestrials are real. And if you are a contactee, there's ways to access those memories and be able to consciously see their craft and them to know they're real." Yeah, but you got to be careful because a lot of abductees we're just not ready to see what goes on. They're just not. I would say it's grown since I first got in the field, but 98% of all abductees don't remember anything. So maybe it's 96% now, but it hasn't changed that much because it's not a conducive environment for it. You can lose a good job over it. You can lose a relationship over it. It can cause you grief in many, many ways.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, one or more of the races that do visit here, our atmosphere is usually toxic to them, or just very difficult for them to operate in. Therefore, for them to operate around us, they have to breathe our atmosphere.
Yes. Well, we know
bring us into theirs.
Yeah, we know the human type aliens. That's using that term loosely. Supposedly don't breathe our atmosphere these days. From what I understand, there's usually just a thing. They said you can barely see it fits inside their sinuses, and they just breathe it. They look just like us. When you look and they're straight on, like I'm looking at you right now, you can't tell, except they're bigger and bulkier than we are. Yeah. The girls are taller. Yes. But and then all of a sudden they turn their head, and their head's just much longer than ours is, and it kind of sways out a little bit. No, it's not like the Gray's head. Gray's head is weird because it goes up and out and around and back. It's just bigger all the way around. Yeah, like that one right there. See, look how big it bulges out in the front. That's how Grays do. Yeah, that's the dun 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 dun. Oh no! So she hauls Grays around, and she hauls the people around in the 18-wheeler who does the experiments. She's like the chick on X-Files, guys. Y'all better be careful. She'll disappear your asses. You'll find yourself at Area 54 in a cave or something. You better be careful. What's that? Anyway. What do you mean? Can I go to Area 51? If I told you that, they would just come shoot all of y'all.
Is Area 51 and Area 52 both found in Nevada?
They're both on the Nellis test site. Area 51 is in the southern part of the area and is on a dry lake bed called Groom Lake. Area 52 is in the northwest corner, the very northwest corner, the very far edge of the base, and that's where our F-117 fighters fly out of.
Why is there such a common misconception that Area 51 is in Roswell, New Mexico?
It is
because
not.
People are on crack. It's not even close to Roswell.
I know. I've had to correct like 4 people just this week who randomly started talking about, Area 51, Roswell. And I'm like, nope, Area 51's in Nevada. They're like, I thought that was Roswell. I was like, nope, that was just a crash site, and it wasn't even in Roswell. It was like almost 2 hours outside of Roswell.
Yes,
Roswell was just the base. They had the Air Force base there where all of the pieces were sent to.
Or they were collected to and sent from that base. Yeah.
It's no, I still got friends in Roswell today. I never get asked to speak. Once when the city was running everything, I got asked to speak a couple of times. I spoke at the 60th anniversary, spoke at a couple of times after that, but the museums never asked me to speak, even though we run the largest alien abduction organization in the world. Don't ask me. It is true. We are looking for directors, not just directors, investigators. Who said that? Not so much UFO investigators. Stephen Bissett's a good friend of mine, but him and I don't agree on lights in the sky. You're never going to get to the truth chasing lights in the sky. The only place you're going to get to the truth is because once you make a connection with the contactees, it helps you to make a connection to the aliens. Well, why do you have to make a connection to the government if you can make a connection to the aliens directly?
We currently have no known treaties with any exopolitical organizations, i.e. alien governments.
Currently, none of them think we are. Well, mainly from what I understand, it's just simply because we're not a one world government. They're never going to let us into anything until we become a one world government. So the only way that's going to happen is if the Holocaust dreams are true, then there will be a one world alien government.
Please go into more detail about these Holocaust dreams.
We can't. It's a different show. It's Holocaust just means you have these dreams about the Holocaust.
Dreams of either the Holocaust
Not
People hear
religious
Holocaust
Holocaust.
and they think World War
or the
II,
aftermath.
like
Yeah.
Hitler. People hear Holocaust, they think
Yes, but we're not
genocide.
talking about. First off, it's not like a nuclear holocaust of any kind. From what I understand and what I've been told, the planet is left completely intact. All the buildings are intact. The electricity's working. The water's working. Everything's intact. Only thing is, something like 9.5 billion people are dead. It sounds like Katrina. I mean, it's Katrina. It sounds like COVID on steroids.
So
Well,
when
it's
you
not.
say Holocaust, do you mean apocalypse?
It means they're all dead.
Yeah, actually, it's closer to, but not quite, an extinction level event.
Kind of is really. So
It's a near extinction level event.
So in the end, they're going to save about 2.5 billion people off the planet. I think 2 billion of them are going to be taken off world, and they're going to leave the rest behind to live in 2 or 3 different cities, along with a bunch of different types of aliens that are going to be here with us. And they just all Jennifer. So what they say is the keepers, or the ones who are going to be doing this. When the time comes, their consciousness is uploaded into one of the new husk bodies, which are much different. They look the same, but they're just different. Physically, they're stronger and faster. The brains are much larger capacity, and it's also
Now, are we talking a mechanical body or a biological body?
no, this is a biological body, but it's also built in. So somewhere along the line, the people who are going to be doing this have been being trained on board the different ships. So as it goes along, they probably use the body to get used to it. But more importantly, they're probably uploading genetic stuff into the body itself, genetic memory stuff, meaning like how to fight a particular way, how to use a certain type of telekinesis, things along those lines that you couldn't keep in this brain because it would drive you insane. Well, there's just not enough room in it. To be a full telepath and full telekinesis and the full range of psychic abilities, our heads are going to have to be a little bit bigger. I
don't know about that, because if you think about the random selection of which species the aliens decided to upgrade genetically, they didn't go with Homo erectus. Homo erectus actually had a brain that was about 5 to 15 kilograms bigger than ours. Not a lot bigger, but just slightly bigger. Yet we won. We evolved. They're no longer here. But part of them is in our genetic structure, but we beat them out of the evolutionary game. Why? We have a smaller brain. We had smaller bodies. We had weaker bodies.
More condensed brain,
much stronger than our current body form.
Well, the brain size isn't as important. Well, it is, and
I think it's the type of brain which is
well.
important.
They talk about different types of lobes especially like for telekinesis. So your brain probably does have to be shaped a little bit differently, but it's brain matter because I mean elephants' brains are decent sized brain. Whales' brains are definitely bigger than ours. Are they more intelligent than us? I guess anybody could argue the fact, yes or no. Same with dolphins. Actually, dolphins' brains are bigger and have 2 additional senses than ours do, and a larger
brain
vocabulary.
Weapon.
Yeah. So when it comes down to it, there may actually be more advanced. I'm thinking what they're looking for, because when you look at the reptilians, humans, and greys, the greys have a big ass brain. The humans have a big ass brain, and the reptilians' head is shaped like ours, but their head's about twice
kilograms, something like that.
And the reptilians' brain's probably twice the size of ours. So it does matter the size, but it also matters what you're talking about, the density of the brain, the way the brain is designed, how it's put together. I think all of it matters on how far along you're going to evolve. Well, it probably just matters because it might be easier if your brain or your brain cavity is shaped a particular way for echo and things.
So the human brain is somewhere between the order of 5.5 inches by 6.5 inches by 3.6 inches. That's the overall dimensions, and about 3 pounds, or 1,300 to 1,400 grams, or 350 to 400 grams. So that's quite weighty. 3 pounds. It's, people always say, you want to lose 10 pounds quick, cut off your head. No, not enough.
What's it? Well, no, I mean it's. I just would imagine some of that is just the way it's going to work out, but it doesn't matter on the host bodies. The host bodies are bigger than the ones you have here. I think the average height somewhere around 6'6" for the men and the women. They're stockier, they're bigger. Actually, in some ways, they're stockier. And the brain cavity is bigger. The brain is bigger. But I think a lot of it is storage. I really think that's what a lot of it is. I think because for those aliens, they can do stuff like upload something into their head. Like, I want to learn how to be a black belt. It's in their head. They're a black belt. They just go do it.
It's very Matrix-esque where they kind of plug in and upload the knowledge. And
I don't even know if they got to plug in. I think it's all wireless, to be honest with you. But
well, no, that's what I'm saying. It's similar. It's a similar idea.
Oh yeah, it's similar. Same. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Every time I think about it, I think about the Matrix. Actually,
someone could argue that I think that that's very possible. I mean, I know there's knowledge that I have that I didn't read. No one told it to me. Maybe it was a problem in school that I was thinking about, and maybe I just came to the conclusion on my own. I don't know, but I know there's some knowledge in my head that I don't know how the hell it got in there.
Well, all contactees are always above. They always have information above above their school level. They're always above that. So if they got a bachelor's, they're usually.
Oh, then I'm definitely a contactee. When I was 8, I was told that I had the knowledge of a high school graduating senior.
So just to put this in, this is a good experiment for y'all. So I was doing a lecture in, where was I? Hot Springs, Arkansas, and I wanted to prove a point to somebody. I said, go get a book. I said, a book I've never read. It was The Universe in a Nutshell. This is a long time ago. And they said, okay. I said, now I want you to go look on a page and just think about something. And I'm going to tell you what you're reading. And I told them, and they were freaking out. I said, well, it's worse than that. I said, I can tell you what's in that book. I said, I'm actually a big fan of it, even though I've never read it. I said, the whole damn thing is in my damn head, like somebody just stamped it in there. And so I would just go through and read passages out of my head. People are like, no freaking way. I'm like, yeah, I've never, still to this day, I've never read this book. Not the only one, by the way. You just pick up information. Don't ask me how. Is it a transfer through the aliens? Is it something else? If you're visiting across the conscious levels, some way that information is getting into your brain other than reading a book and sitting in front of a computer getting it. And don't have to take me at the word, people. Our government actually does experiments on this, trying to figure out how this happens for some people.
Yeah.
Seems to me it's mainly contactees, because that's who mainly has telepathy and stuff like that. No, look. So far, no one has proved telekinesis. I agree it's going to exist. And I agree maybe at a certain level, because I have seen things like angry temper slamming the door. I have seen that. Now, I don't mean getting up and slamming it. I mean sitting there and thinking slam, and the door just slams. I have seen that a couple of times. But it's not like a controllable thing. Matter of fact, I've seen somebody lose their temper, a contactee lose their temper on the middle of a beautiful day. So like out of a movie, freaking storm comes up, little tornado starts, rips the roof off the Winn-Dixie, tosses it in the parking lot, and goes away. The media talked about it for like 6 years. Nobody knows where it came from, what happened. And I was with the person who, so the thing about those is I think that sometimes, but no one really knows how to use it yet or control it, because we know that because no world leaders are dropping dead. I mean, think about it. I could be thinking, squeeze that little artery in Putin's head. He has an aneurysm and dies. It's just natural. Someone gets a blood clot in their leg and it kills them before they can get them somewhere.
I still like the idea of the dream warriors from Dreamscape. You go into someone's dream, and the myth is if you die in your dream, you die in real life. So you go into the guy's dream and you assassinate him, and then he dies in real life. Looks like natural causes. That's another. Well, there's another really cool thing. I don't know if there probably are
3 of those movies
in the government, especially to keep the secrets from the rest of the government. I'm sure parts of the government are doing this. Assassins that make it look like an accident. Remo Williams. Superhero. He's an assassin that kills bad guys and makes it look like they drove their car off a cliff because they were drunk, or their toaster exploded.
Well, they had found a weapon that shot bolts. Somebody was going to use it to, actually somebody shot at him I think it was Patton. It was General Patton. They tried to kill it.
Hmm.
And they found it embedded inside the car. It was a bolt, just like a regular bolt on it, and like a rivet bolt. And
Yeah.
it went right. It penetrated right through the car. Would have killed him if it had hit him. And then a lot of people said, "Oh, it was an accident," but nobody could find where it came from. And then later on, they found this thing, this air gun thing, that they're pretty sure that's where it came from. Somebody used the air gun to shoot at it. What do you mean, people? Nail guns? I use nail guns on the freaking nail gun. Kill you dead. What are you talking about? In a heartbit. And don't think you got to press it down.
What about the
to
ram
shoot
set?
it.
You know what a ram set is, right?
Yeah.
It's a 25 caliber thing that shoots a bolt into concrete, so you can anchor stuff like shelves and safes and things like that. So yeah, there's plenty of tools that are extremely deadly.
Well, no. So, like on my DeWalt, I'll just take it back and pull the thing back and pull the trigger, and it just shoots. It'll shoot about 15 feet, and it'll shoot right through a piece of half-inch plywood like it's nothing. Oh yeah, man, it will kill you dead. Well, what he's talking about, they have the kind that you have to use a hammer to set it off. And then they have the kind that's actually a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called Ramset. It's one of the brands.
Yeah, and I've had to use it many times. Well, sometimes I cheat and just drill a hole in it and get the jack drill out. And
sometimes you have to drill a pilot hole for the Ramset thing. But what it does is essentially it fires either a threaded screw or a black, piece of steel that has a hole in it for anchoring whatever you're going to anchor, whether it's a shelf or,
Oh yeah, well no, for when you're putting down boards when you're doing construction, your first 2x4s you put down, you shoot those down with. No, they're just nails, but they're made nails that they go into the concrete. Yeah, you just shoot them through. You'll see they got a little red thing on the top to stop them from going all the way through and shit. Yeah, they're made just for that. Just to shoot right through, go into the concrete, go in the next one, go in the next one, go in the next one. Yeah, I prefer, and I gotta be honest with you, I like the lag mine. But
what about technology that was intended to determine the cause of somebody's death years and years in advance? Like that's been depicted in movies before, where I think it was actually what movie was it? I don't even know, but.
Yeah,
is
that would be
real?
seeing into the future, but so far, I don't really see anybody that can really see in the future, because if they can, they're doing a shit job trying to change things. See, one of the things that helps us to understand about some of the conspiracy stuff is we live in this, and we know what was going on 10 years ago. We know what was going on 20 years ago. We got a good idea what's going to be going on 10 years from now, unless Putin uses a nuke, and then that's going to change everything.
Yeah.
Actually, Jeffrey, Friday we'll talk about that. Yes, and actually, our country has contacted his country and asked him please not to use a nuke. Yes. Currently, I heard today he used chemical weapons, but that's for Friday.
There's also the theory that one of the alien visitors, quote alien visitors, is really us from the future, coming back to the past to
fix what people thought Grays were.
Their future, because their future is fractured because of something we did, or something of the like. I'm not sure, but that's
no. A lot of people think that for a long time. A lot of people thought that's what the Grays were from the future. They were us from the future. And to be honest with you, they look more like they would have evolved from a raptor than from a human. Because if you ever see, I think it's Yale, no, it's Harvard. They've got an image of a raptor being pulled forward. He looks just like a gray when you bring him up just 2 million years. It looks like a gray. And that was what, 55 to 100, 120 million years ago. So
or further. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it was looking like us or looking like a gray in 2 million years, that's 100 years of evolution, 100 million years of evolution in between. They could be us, or they could just be someone else from here. We always assume that we're the first evolution of intelligence on this species, on this planet, but we don't know that. There's at least 500 million years of life. I mean, it only took us 2 million years to get where we are today. So
what if the Greys, the reptilians, the insectoids, and the other human species that are allowed to visit this planet all evolved on and left from this planet as the technical beings they are now?
That's it. And that's the thing. It could have been the Greys, could have been the reptilians, could have been all three. We've talked about this before. All three of the species that come here could have been from here originally, or if not from here, they could have been from Venus, Mars, and the planet that went.
Or the broken up planet.
Yeah.
Is now
So
an
they don't
asteroid
have to
field.
be these deep space, even though the Greys swear they're from the other side of the galaxy, and the light beams are what gave them the abilities they have today.
Well, and even if they weren't from, even if they didn't evolve off of our planet and then go away and then come back, they could say that anyway. There's no way we could prove or disprove it.
That's right. And what do you mean, Jack? Oh no, I think they all lie.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're
Oh, you
keeping
mean
their
no?
presence-
No.
they're
I
keeping
think
their
the
presence away
aliens
from the
lie.
bulk of the population. So that doesn't bode well for a lot of the planet.
It's what's it? Well, yeah, I think if you had to ask me which one I thought was the honest out of the three, I think the reptilians are the most honest. I think they're the most honest because they consider us family. The Greys consider us like a pet, and the humans,
Or some kind of unique observational thing.
yeah. Well, they
Why
they
did I
look
see one
human
when I was a kid?
because they wanted you to see him. They figured you could deal with it, but apparently you went apeshit instead. So whatever Grey was at probably got fired. He's probably back on Grey World. They probably sent him back to Grey World. So get out of here, dude. You know what the hell you're doing. You scared that little girl. And usually, if you have a memory of seeing them, it's because somewhere in one of your contacts, you expressed emotions that you could handle this and deal with it, or you wanted to be part of it.
Yeah, it looks like the Enterprise.
So that being part of it, which is probably you, Lee, because you like to have your nose and all kind of stuff. So you probably were expressing those emotions, but it might have been too much for you. You were pretty young back then. It might have just been too much. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, and sometimes other parts of life gets in the way. Chasing guys, surfing, things like that, eating chocolate, that shit gets in the way sometimes. No, Frank, I'm just talking about living life gets in the way sometimes. I was just using those as examples. Yeah, so and sometimes spouses get in the way. If you have a spouse that's not supportive, or a friend that's not supportive, this can be a hard thing to deal with. Contact can be a really hard thing to deal with. I think our government knows nothing when it comes to abductions. Like, I think the whole
I
reason
would venture to say, Joe, that of the U.S. government, the proper government, the president, his staff, the Congress, the Senate, everybody there, you and I and Leah probably know more than 90% of those people in those buildings.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, without question.
Well, Jack, they don't tell the presidents. No, they don't tell the presidents.
Well, certain ones were made aware. I think Kennedy was made aware. I think Nixon was made aware.
Kennedy wouldn't have been made aware because he was only a one-term president, so he wouldn't have been made aware. Matter of fact, if it's true, and you go back to the start, it's only been Republican two-term presidents that have been told. Because Obama wanted to know and Clinton wanted to know, and they told Clinton he did not need to know twice. Yeah. They told him that, and once at each time. Obama's second term, he wanted to go to Area 51. They said, you have no need to go to Area 51, Mr. Obama.
Yeah, he even said in a speech, I want to know. And they said, you can't.
They're like, no, sorry, dude, you don't get to know. I know Daddy Bush knew.
He was head of CIA, so he definitely knew. And probably Baby Bush knew, too.
Well, I knew because of that, not just that. Reagan instituted the Pine Gap program, which is the Joint British Defense of Outer Space. He instituted the whatchamacallit facility in Alaska, the HARP facility. He initiated Star Wars, and the lasers he asked for were way too big for shooting down missiles. These things were looking like shooting down motherships or something. I mean, we were shooting things into space with them. They're so damn big. You can't put them on an airplane. I mean, they were just monsters.
Yeah, so you needed a rocket to get it off the planet. Yeah.
Yeah. So these things were just going to be land based, and anything in the sky was going to just wipe out. But he instituted all three of those programs, and on 7 different occasions, he said that it would probably take an invasion from outer space to unite us all as one
question:
planet.
what if an alien force, some kind of alien force, invaded the planet? Wouldn't all of our problems seem to disappear?
Yes.
Or words to that effect, anyway.
That's pretty close.
Wouldn't all of our first world, wouldn't all of our problems seem so small at that point?
Oh, yeah, they would
They
disappear.
would.
They would. Uh, they might come back if we were to win against the aliens. Our arrogant, asses that we are. We would probably go back.
No, we'd all be woke trying to polish their spaceships and shit.
I don't know. There's still some insane radical forces on this planet. This is why people have a problem with what Israel is doing. But that's for Friday. But we don't know that the aliens aren't trying to do that to us.
I am ready for them freaking grays. Last time he was here, Bob got probed, buddy.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We have the Sword of Omens. We're ready for it.
All right, it's turn. Anyway, sorry guys, I got carried away with the damn lightsaber back there. We'll be giving away some at Christmas, so pay attention. Getting back to what we were talking about, it's our government is so limited in what it knows. That's why the military abduction started, because our government didn't know. So,
well, certain government agencies probably know more than like the actual president and those kind of people. But how are they getting information from these military abductions?
Well, wait. Well, a couple of things we're going to address first. So, because somebody just sent me a crazy question. So, Snowden said there was information on extraterrestrials, just like what's his name? What's the one that was held up in the thing? Yeah. So they both said there was, but there was very limited amount, and it was very compartmentalized, and it seemed to be kind of dispersed across the agency, the NSA. So it wasn't exactly, it couldn't exactly have been used for real evidence, is what I'm trying to say. So they knew something, but they didn't really know what they knew. CIA is the same way. They know something, but they don't actually know what it is that they know, because they can't get into contact these heads. They have tried and tried and tried and tried. The aliens get pissed if you try to get into contact these heads. They will come remove them and kill you. They take a very dim view of you, and it's not wouldn't be even the first time. We've got at least 24 cases where this has happened. So they're kind of stuck. So the military abductions evolved because somebody, probably at Lockheed or Boeing or one of the big skunk works, one of the big companies, probably some big CEO over there, decided, well, look, guys, the government can't be involved in this. We're taking citizens against their will and trying to get information about extraterrestrial contact from them. So first off, they had to make contact with the right kind of people. So they had access to people who were being taken. So I'm sure there was a lot of, like they did with Barney Hill, they worked through his psychiatrist. I'm sure they get cases like that as well. I'm sure when you, this is why I always tell people, be sure you want to go public with your story, because once you do, you have now became a beacon. Beep, beep, beep. I want to be probed by Uncle Sam, because you may know something. Like the ones who come forward and talk about how they know how crafts work or designs of engines or different things like that. Different
probably
things.
Other more important things like weapons capabilities, tactical
all kind of stuff. Just how the ships operate and stuff like that. What's their overall design? How big are some of them really? Just there's a multitude of questions. And I mean, when I say there's a multitude, it's a multitude. So it's not like they can just put them under and grab the questions and go. I mean, it's just too much to ask. And there's resistance to get out the door. And then as the contactee or abductee begins to break, whatever alien it is, because they keep a telepathic connection with us, that's how they know where we are, goes, well, wait a minute. And then they send somebody or themselves to retrieve them. And I know the Greys especially, and the reptilians, will just wipe them out. They'll just wipe out the 4, 5, or 6 people are there. Actually, they in several different depictions, they said the Greys just like burst them into instant. It was like a spontaneous combustion. It would be the best way of explaining it. I don't know, people. I wouldn't want to piss them off. I know that, but I have been dealing with multiple with those kind of abductions for a long time. Well, no, okay. Hey, U.S. Army, how you doing? So,
yeah, Denise, I would think yes on that.
I know you heard that on Coast to Coast. So, this was, I don't know, however many years ago it was. Leah probably wasn't even born yet. Anyway, I was on.
85.
Well, okay, you might have been like peeing in your pants or something. I was on Coast to Coast. No, it wasn't that long ago. It was, I don't know, 25 years probably. But I was on Coast to Coast, and this gentleman called and he said, I know for a fact that you're in charge of all the all the military abductions inside the United States, part of Europe and part of Russia. I'm like, really? And I'm like, well, prove it to me. He said, well, I can't. If I prove it on air, they'll kill me. I'm like, well, dude, I said, do you see where I live? Back then, I was living in an apartment. It's a little 2-bedroom, whatever. I was like, ugh, come on. I said, if I was a general in charge, I'd be like filthy, living in a mansion, servants all over the place, contactee servants all over the place, so I can keep a track on them. I said, that's not true. But unfortunately, because it was on Coast, it took off. And I'll be places sometimes. I had one lady went up, she just starts screaming at me. You're the reason. I said, no, baby, I'm the reason that people don't get abducted like that. I said, you got it backwards.
In charge of, what does that imply?
That implies I signed the thing that says go get you.
Yeah.
Go get what?
Go get you.
Go pick you up and take, find out what you know.
Whoever it is, we've got tip on. I'm the one that signs the papers for them to go get you, and they bring them to me.
Well,
you see, I said that bad people. That's not the way it happens because now people are gonna get all crazy with this shit. It's no, I don't military abduct people. Just don't even go there. It's Leah's job, man. I passed it on to her last year.
Why? Thank you.
So if you get probed by anything military, you blame it on Leah now. Yes. It is true. I do know some people in Space Command. I know a general, actually 2 generals in Space Command. But they're not doing a military abduction either. It's not military abductions. It's I don't know how it's some more people in military. You may have some admirals, some generals, some colonels, some captains all mixed in there. But these are high level kind of people who've been involved in these kind of projects for a long time. You'll get some people from Lockheed and Boeing and Skunk Ridge you'll get people from all over the place. You might even see some out of Yucca Mountain or the WIF facility or like we make Los Alamos, places like that. Yeah, they wherever they are, when they get to a point where they get enough power, they get recruited because these are the ones looking because they don't compartmentalize like the government does. So the echelon, whoever that is at the top 20 or 30 people, they have whatever story is going on with them, they have that whole story. Now, some of the people who work from underneath may have half the story, stuff like that. They probably are the men in black, and they probably do have orders to kill themselves if they're captured. I wouldn't even doubt that a little bit. I was working with a woman, Katarina Wilson, who's an Air Force woman, and she's gotten out all of this, and I will have to strike her name out of this, and she had been being taken a couple of times, and to save time, what they had started doing was putting them on a stage in front of a podium and hypnotizing them and letting the crowd ask them questions of the different officials that were involved in these groups so they could come in and ask questions. That's what got me involved in this, actually. Because of her, she told me these stories, and I started checking them out, and then I met Melinda Leslie, and somebody had turned me on to Carla Turner, which Carla Turner who's the one who really pioneered military abduction research. Yeah, very strange. She really got into it, really started finding some stuff. All of a sudden, she died of stage 4 cancer that like came overnight and killed her overnight. Yeah, so, but somehow or another, Melinda Leslie and I picked it up, and we brought it on Coast to Coast and talked about it, and put it back into the public where it needed to be. It's something that goes on because when they know you're an abductee and they know you've been taken because they're watching you, they come get you. Whoever this group is. We'll just call them the men in black. Because calling them military abductee people is not what they are. I mean, they're not the military.
There's some sort of paramilitary government.
They don't work for the government. Yeah, they're completely off the books, off the record. Nobody even knows how to get funded. Some people think they fund themselves.
The CIA does that with selling PCP in the streets.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So I mean, I don't know Or does that Clara know? I mean, they really do think they fund themselves because the government itself knows squat.
They don't know. Yeah, nothing.
The military knows squat. No, they don't know. They know squat. People want you to think they know all this, but they don't. Well, you can tell by one. Look at our technology. It's been what 60 years since Roswell? No, it's been 80 years,
More,
70 years, 70 years.
580, yeah.
So no, it's just, and we still can't fly the craft. That's just pathetic. No, we got other stuff. I mean, we got the TR-3Bs and the Aurora projects. We got other projects going on. We got the DARPA projects. We got the Space Command projects. I mean, we got stuff going on, but it's terrestrial. It's not extraterrestrial. Because I don't think we understand their technology yet. I think the biggest problem for us is we haven't come up with a power supply yet.
77 years since
there
Roswell.
You go. Yeah. So I don't think we've come up with a power supply yet that can really run their stuff the way we need it to run. Yeah, like what Stargate came up with the Quadria reactors. I'm sorry, the NACWA reactors. It's something like that, fusion or fission.
Well, they also found the alien 0-point modules, which were like infinite energy modules as well, but they couldn't figure out how to power up the Atlantis to make it work all the way. They could only power up certain bits of it.
It's well, Jack, we need now look, we are working on antimatter. We are working on trying to figure out what the frick dark matter is. We are working on fission, fusion, always getting backwards. Yes, because we want to go there. Well, if they get it right and we get away from the kind of energies we run right now, nuclear reactors, and we go to cold, then you can have a reactor about this size running your car. You can actually come out of your car and go in your house, run your house. You can actually go in your house, go in your boat, run your boat. Or you could have multiple ones. It'll be like the little size about little softballs. The one they're building right now, which is about 2 18-wheelers big, should be able to power New York City indefinitely. Once it starts running, it runs. And it produces water as a clean water as a byproduct. Yeah, clean, potable water as a byproduct. I know, isn't that some shit? We're getting there. I mean, but we're not there yet. We still got a little ways. And those kind of that kind of energy allows us to build weapons on a scale we've never really thought of before.
You think in order for us to even explore just our solar system, we need a level of technology that's at least Star Trek or Star Wars level. We don't necessarily need to get to another solar system in 12 hours. But it'd be cool to be able to get to Jupiter in 5 or 6 hours or 5 or 6 days. Whereas right now it takes years, 1.5, 2 years to get there.
What's that, Frank? Well, we have to have a power supply. I imagine whatever these craft uses something much more powerful than a nuclear reactor. Which, don't get me wrong, a nuclear reactor is seriously powerful, but it's not the right kind of power. Plus, I mean, anytime you think about a nuclear reactor, you got to be thinking about lead shielding and putting it all together and how big it's going to be and how much it's going to weigh. You got to get all that into space. You got to get it on a ship. And then you've always got the problems of if something gets damaged, it can contaminate you. Yes. And cold fusion's a whole different thing. Yes. Yeah, well, one's way cleaner than the other one is. One's way safer than the other one is. Mm-hmm. It's just something we have to do. It's not a chance, not something to do, and we're going to do it. It's just a matter of time. Every day I hear them working about new types of technologies for new power supplies. When you do, all right, do you really think that the world's going to be able to run on windmills and solar panels? Really?
Look, if the moon goes away, guess what? The seasons go away, and so does most of the big winds. Bye-bye hurricanes.
I don't know what to say. I don't know to tell you guys. That doesn't seem like a feasible plan to me. I think we need something better than that. What do you mean? I don't know why we don't use hydrogen. Hydrogen's a great thing. Hydrogen would solve all of our car and train
to produce,
problems.
though. It's about $16 a gallon to produce it.
Yeah, but once you went on a mass produce where there was one on every corner, that would come down to about $2 or $3. It's well, that's how it always is.
Start extracting it from outer space itself, with some sort of mining operation.
I think they had it. I remember when they were showing the first hydrogen stations. They looked pretty self-sufficient. They were it was kind of interesting how they worked. Well, people started bitching because they were scared that every corner would have a hydrogen bomb on it now, which isn't true. But when we first did gas stations, no one wanted the gas station on their corner because it was just a bunch of bombs on the ground. Remember, there's usually 4 gasoline tanks underground, big gasoline tanks,
500 or 600 gallon tanks.
Yeah, they no, they big. Oh no, today they're probably more. I think they're 3,000 to 5,000 gallons a tank.
Yeah, they might. Yeah, but they're still big. They're huge. I
saw them freaking huge.
When they put they redid one of the sheets up here near my old house years ago, and I saw them dig out the old ones. They were ginormous. You could fit 2 or 3 pickup trucks in it.
Oh yeah. Well, no, they had to pull out the other ones because most of them were metal. Now they replace them with fiberglass.
The ones they put in were like a black plasticky looking thing.
Yeah, it's just supposed to be layered fiberglass. Well, it's resistant to gasoline, and it's got a little give to it if you live in an earthquake zone, and it won't rust. That was the whole point.
Yeah. Gasoline will eat steel.
Well, aliens that are here, that are coming and going, that are here. I mean, they probably like watching this political season. They're probably laughing their asses off.
They might even have a finger in it, but that's a Friday question.
Yes. What's that, Bruce? You mean who would the Grays want? I'm not even going there. No, I'm not going there. They'd probably want who. Yeah, I'm not saying nobody's name, man. Forget it.
Yeah, I can see it now tomorrow. The headlines. Joe says the Grays vote for Trump.
I'm scared it might be the other one. So we're not.
Yeah, it might be that too.
No, we're going to take a little short break. About I think it's a 2-minute or 3-minute break. What's that? Well, we'll get some promos places. We probably make a 4-minute break. Why is that, Bruce? Well, no, y'all get y'all's questions together. We'll be right back. Oh, we only got about half an hour when we get back, though. So, no, because last week we went over a full hour.
Yeah.
Yes, and the Queen Bee was not happy. Said something about firing Leah's ass. It was her fault. I was like, no,
it should be 3 hours.
we may go 3 hours one of these days in the future. Anyway, stop it, people. Yeah, it's like, oh my God. Anyway, we'll be right back. So stay tuned and hang out and listen to some music. This song was actually written for this show a long, long time ago. So here you go. Maybe I should put it on the web.
The Church of Mavis radio show, Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central, starring Jeffrey Pritchett with his co-hosts Wham and Jay McNicholas, right here on the United Paranormal Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans.
You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network. Welcome to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo.
Well, welcome back, you freaks, man. Look at the freaks. Look at the freaks. Look at the freaks. Yeah, I see the freaks all over the place. Welcome back. I hope everybody's been enjoying the show. We've been a little on scattered topics tonight, but well, it's hard because there's so much. This is a political year. We are 26 days from the election, and we host a Friday night show where we talk about news. But of course, right now it's politics. Now on the 5th. We'll have 6, 7, 8 hosts. How many ever show up? Maybe sometimes it's more than that. We'll all be calling the election from 6 p.m. till midnight. Yes, come by, hang out. So far, we've called the election right every year. So let's see if we're gonna make a four-peat. It's a lot. We have a lot of fun. What is that? We do allow drinking on this show. Yes, very few shows we allow drinking on. This is one of the shows. Now, if you get sloppy drunk, we will toss your ass. But as long as you're a regular, you're welcome to come on and hang out with us. Leah's going to be there. She's going to be dressed up like Marilyn Monroe.
No, those days are long gone.
Jay is going to be there. He's going to be dressed up like Marilyn Monroe. What do you mean? If Jay can dress up, you can. Oh, are you saying Jay will make a better Marilyn Monroe than you? Is that what you're telling me? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. The world is truly coming to an end for sure now. I fucking know it.
Did you know I actually did portray Marilyn Monroe as a street performer in Las Vegas?
See. So I'm telling y'all.
It was the best paying job I ever had.
So we'll have half the host dress up like Marilyn Monroe and the other half dress up like who? L. Ron Hubbard.
Well, not really a street performer. I was considered a tribute artist.
Whatever the hell that means.
We actually went over this in another show, though, didn't we, Joe?
What was this? It's weird when it comes to our politics. I don't, because I don't think the Greys and the reptilians and humans have politics in the way we do.
Well, I have to disagree. Because before the aliens left after they got us going, they instituted government. They put the King's List together as a form of government control with those first city-states.
Because they may have thought that might work. So I would imagine for them.
So they have at least a concept. Their government may be different than what they started out with, but I'll bet you they have
think about it, because
political structure.
Well, think about our government and what it started out to be, or just think about the world's government in general. I mean, there was no democracies on this planet until the Greeks came along, and it wasn't a true democracy. Yeah. And then the Romans came along, and it was sort of a democracy. And we're not a democracy; we're a freaking republic. It's so I think for them, and I agree with you. I think in the beginning they probably did have governments like us, and I think they're just showing us, or we're showing them the way to progress a step, get away from communism, get away from socialism, go to where you're actually taking care of the people. But today, I don't think they have that, because the Greys definitely seem to be on some type of hive system. The reptilians are definitely in a caste system, a tribal caste system under one government, and the humans tend to be kind of under the. I don't want to call it a monarch, but they're closer to. I don't think their people get to pick their leader. I think their other leaders get to pick their leaders. I guess it'd be maybe more like a. What is the British government? Maybe it's more like that, or maybe it's more like the
That's
Chinese government,
monarchy.
which is communist. I don't know, but I mean, as you become a society and things progress along, I imagine you learn different things work different ways. A
See the
republic's great, but it has too many ways to be dishonest.
the wouldn't you say that the United Kingdom's government is all based on a bloodline
Well,
that
not anymore. It's not. It used to be when it was a monarchy. It was, but today it's a. What is it? It's the same with government. It's a commonwealth. Is that what it is? A commonwealth? No. Is that what it is? I have to go look and see now. But
no, but there's still like the next in line is always like the firstborn of
but
whatever
that's
family you're
only
from.
that. But that's for the monarchy. They don't rule anything. They just get to keep the money and act like they cute and stuff. The prime minister, he's an elected official. His party has to get elected, and then they elect him out of his party and put him up there.
Oh,
Yeah,
so the king and queen and all that, they're just glorified celebrities then?
that's what they are. Have been for about 200 years now. Well, not 200 years, maybe 150 or something. But one of the queens decided, hey, this is turn it over to the people. Actually, Jack, I used to know all of that. It's just hard drive is full, so somebody's got to get pushed out for new stuff. um, well, the monarchy is an interesting place, but it's pretty easy to look it up. And well, the queen changed it. I mean, it's not just your sons, your firstborn sons that can rule. Well, it would have been if if the prince would have had a girl first, and then a boy in the old days, the son would have got to be the king, not the daughter. But today it doesn't matter, even though George is going to be king. Well, I don't know when what's his face takes over and dies. Hopefully, that's a long time from now. Kate, Queen Kate and her fella. That's what we're gonna call him. Queen. You mean Prince Harry? No, I don't. He's pretty
Didn't
far
he
out
like
of
get
the.
divorced from that family?
He would be right now. He is one, two, three, four out, five out from the crown. Yeah, he'd be fifth in line.
It's so weird.
And that's if they don't disown him. I'm not sure. Well, they always say that he wasn't Philip's kid. He was the horse trainer's kid. He looks just like the guy. He does. It's kind of like it's uncanny the way it looks like. It's also uncanny how Trudeau just looks just like your boy Castro from Cuba. I don't know. That's a place that gets a lot of UFO reports is Cuba, especially on those two sides of that bay where them two sunken cities are. They tend to get a lot of reports. I wonder sometime if the top city is just there underneath that is where the aliens park. It's in 800 and 900 feet of water. One of them's in 2,000 feet. One's in 900 feet. Be a good place to park. Makes it hard to explore. I mean, our technology is getting better every day, but look what happened to them poor guys who went to go look at the Titanic. Can you imagine? You're a multimillionaire. You're paying for this trip. You're cruising along, and all of a sudden you see, poop, you're dead. Imploding's got to be a sucky way to die. Yeah. I can think of better ways to go than that one. I really can. You mean Joe Biden? I think Joe Biden knows zero about extraterrestrials. I think Obama knew zero about extraterrestrials. If Kamala wins somehow, I think she'll know zero about extraterrestrials. Probably Trump doesn't know anything. Now, if he wins, he gets a second term as a Republican, maybe, but probably not. Now, someone like Vance might get to find out. Would Daddy Bush only found out because he was head of the CIA before, so He was head of the CIA, then vice president, then president. I mean, come on, he held the 3 highest offices in the United States. Yeah. Oh, you might be. Want me to kick you out, Jay? Hold on. It won't even let me kick him out. Oh, I kicked yourself out. Jay has been taken by the reptilians. We can't say what's going on there because this is a PG-13 rated show. So sorry. You have to wait till Friday night to find out what happened. Oh wait, he's back. He can tell you.
My thing must have froze up because your 2 cameras were just 2 circles spinning around.
Yeah, just locked up somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
Danny G, what you got for us, man? Because the government don't need it. What is the government going to know? Nothing. Maybe if all these governments shared a little bit, they might have some idea what's going on. But no, they don't.
The closest I would say that our government knew anything would be President Eisenhower, and he allegedly signed an agreement called the Great.
See, they don't even talking about them.
They don't want anyone to know what that was going to be.
Yeah, no alien, no talking about signing alien contracts, man. I know. What the hell is that about? It's look, guys, it's a little weird out there. Let's switch earbuds here. Jimmy, hey Christy, how you doing? Well, Trump has an interest in it, but Trump is weird when it comes to extraterrestrials. When he's asked, he's usually like, well, probably not. He never discounts it wholeheartedly. And maybe he does know because they I mean, Ronald Reagan knew. Baby Bush only knew because Daddy Bush needed to go back over to the Middle East to get whatever they were looking for. Yeah, so well, think about it. Daddy Bush was over there for 4 years, and then Baby Bush was over there for 7. And then we were over there the whole time Obama was president. Yeah, we didn't get out of there till the end of his term. So that's what, 16 years plus 4. It's 20 years of blowing up the Middle East. I don't know. What were we looking for? Obviously, we were looking for something. Jeffrey, most of the time people would say that there was a Stargate of some kind. They think there was a Stargate or some kind of communication device with advanced extraterrestrials, something that the ancient world was using that the modern world doesn't have access to. Do you mean the series Stargate? Well, you never know. I don't rule out anything in today's world, not even a little bit. Because there's just too much history. There's too much of our past pre being able to fly that talks about things flying around in the sky, weird craft with people in them, beings in them. And they don't describe them as demons or angels. They describe them as something else. Well, extraterrestrial wasn't a word back then. It's a more recent word. But, think about all those stories of the little people in Ireland, Scotland, Welsh, England, which, by the way, is great territory. And we also consider the island to be a control study for the Greys. We think that's where because England is like classic alien abduction 101, where the rest of the world has different kind of abduction type things. A lot of people there are still angry about their abductions. It's not that some people aren't angry. It's just it's a little more intense there for some reason. And I think they use them as a control group against whatever else is going on around the world. Yeah, it's a good place to. It's on an island. They're there. They know how long they've been abducting people there for God knows how many hundreds of thousands of years. So they have a pretty good idea about the population, the people, the DNA. They're probably tracking all of that stuff. Yes, they can track you through your DNA, but for some reason, the Greys especially keep a telepathic link with you. Well, there's 3 Greys. You're assigned to 3 Greys. And I don't know how many other people those Greys have assigned to them, but for some reason they keep some kind of low-level telepathic ability. It's like most contactees tell you it's like something like brushing the back of their head, right inside the back of their head. because every now and then they get a glimpse of something, because it's a two-way street. If you're concentrating enough, your psychic abilities can go the other way. So yeah, and sometimes contactees say they see like the craft or something inside or wherever the gray happens to be. Yeah, it's just one of them things they do to know where you are. Well, that's how they keep you from getting uh meal labs ridiculously. Well, there's lots of stories about taking them underground, taking contactees, advanced contactees underground and stuff, and trying to hide them away until they get the information, but they would just come get them wherever they were. Well, John, I think it's John. What's his last name? Krimps. He he's the one that said that's probably what the Dulce story actually was. He said they had probably taken a contactee or more than one and had brought him underground. And the Gray said, "Oh no, you're not keeping our people," and just beamed down there and went and got him. Well, they take a dim view of it. No, that there's true stories about them killing people. So it'd be like if someone took your kid, what would you do? That's what I'm saying. And they kind of feel the same way about it. Well, your favorite Chihuahua, same difference.
So would you say that contactees are on a higher priority list than abductees?
Well, not as far as getting abducted, they're not. As far as getting abducted it goes, or whatever you're being used for at the time. But contactees, it just makes it easier for them and for the Greys or the reptilians or the humans. It allows for them not to be all that panicking, no need to keep them knocked out or drugged out. Besides, contactees are the ones that are going to find out if they're going to be getting able to use them as keepers or communicators, putting them out there talking with people, helping around the ship, helping with contactees. That's what the contact thing is all about. It's so the aliens can figure out if you can be used to be part of the program and even learn about part of the agendas and stuff, and maybe even be part of the cleanup crews at the end or wherever you're being taken. But you get, if you're a keeper and you know what's going on at least a little bit, you have the options like to ask, you got kids, you can ask, because you get to learn about different worlds and different places. So you can ask, for your child to be taken to a certain place or make sure that they're being here, there, or the other thing. Well, a lot of contactees agreed to stay and clean up, find the rest of the contactees that are left behind if they would guarantee their kids were taken to a certain place. Hey, Jay, welcome back, babe.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. No, well, because there's different things. So there's these people, you got to remember now, we're talking like 2 billion people. So they're going to be kind of spread out probably across 8 or 10 planets.
Yeah.
And I would imagine each planet is slightly different or has a different view or has a different.
Well, think about this. With their technology, they may not have to even leave the solar system. They just, bioengineer a couple of, moons of Saturn or Jupiter, and boom, they can focus on that.
So
right?
well, they probably could, but I think what they're trying to do is to allow the human race to grow into a race that can eventually be put back together and put back in place. I think they just want them to become, because it sounds like some of these planets are not so much owned by a single government, but by the council of the governments itself, like the Federation or whatever it is. Yeah, like they created them themselves, and they're not a particular, like if Vulcans or somebody don't own them. It just seems like they belong to whoever. And so it allows for the different races to go there and hang out with each other and enjoy their lives and expand their knowledge. It sounds like a wonderful place.
Has a home world, and it sounds like a hive mind mentality, then it sounds more like the Borg.
Yeah, well, with the Greys, the Greys home world, I doubt most humans are going to get invited to, but these are just worlds that just sound like that the council itself created, because these were worlds they found that were inhabitable, didn't have anybody on them, so they just took them and made them into worlds that belong to the council itself. So there's not a single government there. I imagine it's ruled by the ruling body of the council. That's probably who rules them. So everybody has to go by the same rules, regardless what alien you are. So it teaches them a different way of thinking, how to cooperate with each other, how to be part of it. That way, one day if they get to come back to Earth, which it sounds like they do, they'll be able to put a government together that's going to welcome people from other worlds, make sure the planet's taken care of, make sure everybody else is taken care of. It just sounds like that's what they want to do. But problem for me is it just sounds a little too new agey. So the Greys aren't the friend, and the reptilians are the. I mean, they're friendly, but they're not the friendliest. They do have a rough side to them. So I guess
would
it's
probably
different.
be like the Klingons of the next generation, angry with strange mottled skin that's almost leather armor like.
Yeah, I imagine their skin is kind of armored like. I doubt. But even though when you hear contactees, especially women, when they tell you, they always says it feels like soft, cool suede. It draws your hand to it.
Yeah,
You want
try
to touch
punching it. I'll bet you break your knuckles.
it. I bet you would. And
Yeah.
but it is kind of mild because there is like ridges and humps, but there's nothing real hard. And I'm like, well, and that's what I said to a contact. I said, well, you know what? How often punch it one day and see how soft it is then. And because it just, and when it makes sense that if they're an advanced race who's not been living in the swamp anymore for the last couple of million years, that their skin would change, just like ours has. What's that? Well, you can look on our own planet and see when you live like this, and this, and make your own way. I mean, you can go. I mean, still people on this planet, even today, live in tribes in South America and Africa. So you can go back and see what they look like, 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. It's pretty much the same thing. The rest of us have moved on and moved into other places. And when you wear clothes, of course, your skin's going to change. The amount of hair you carry, all of it's going to change. It's just a natural evolution.
But also think of it on the evolutionary scale. Depending on how far away from your native sun that you evolve, you'll have more or less fur. We have virtually none.
Now, yeah, but I bet you we did more back in the day.
They even if you look at depictions of cavemen, Homo erectus, Homo habilis, they always show them as like slightly more hairy than us, but not fully furred. So that indicates that for whatever reason we probably didn't start here.
Well, there's always been a big argument about where we came from because there's no missing man. Everybody knows about that. And
Mr. Man?
Where's the missing man? So they think that the aliens are actually the missing man. They're the ones that made that. The reptilians made that extra step that gave us sentience.
Well, yeah, because there's a 1 million year gap between Homo habilis and Homo erectus. So they did something with Homo habilis that created Homo erectus, and there's no transition period between those two species. Yet Homo habilis only uses like simple tools like rocks and sticks, and they build simple mud adobe type brick houses, not fired brick, just like a sod house. And Homo erectus, only 1 million years later, again, no transitional bones have found in between these two species. 1 million years later, Homo erectus is using advanced tools like Folsom Point spears, advanced houses that are near water on stilts like Joe's house to avoid water and flood zone type things, and also use an advanced hieroglyphic-like language. Cave art begins.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. It's strange. There does seem to be some oddball things out there. If you go by the story of the creation story of the Sumerians, the Egyptians, and the Dogon, it sounds more like that some aliens came along, created a subspecies of man. Reptilians came along and created the full species of man,
basically.
And it seems to be this mass conspiracy that involves like every aspect of your waking life, where all the news that's on mainstream media is all, altered to be what it is they want us to believe is going on. And then the food that we are consuming, if we're not growing it ourselves, is all genetically modified, altering our, the future generations.
So what happens when you live up north?
Yeah.
Serious. They don't do that stuff in the South. We don't allow for no GMOs. And we ban it crap a long time.
Most of the rest of the world.
Yeah, well, yeah. They banned a lot of stuff around the world from here. Well, who was that, Carl? You can bring it up on Friday. We'll talk about it. No, it did. You'd be surprised how much stuff we eat that's not allowed in Europe. Shit, there's stuff we eat that's not allowed in Mexico or Canada for that.
But on the same token, there's a lot of stuff they eat in Europe that's not allowed here.
That's true too. Yeah. It's just one of them things.
Yeah.
It's What do you mean? Yeah, I seen the watermelon the size of my pickup truck. Yes. How are you going to get that home, man?
Yeah. You have to eat that on the spot.
I mean, come on. Some things are just ignorant. I mean, I've seen them giant pumpkins. I've actually carved one of them bitches before.
There are pictures. I remember the first time I really was given a Bible. It was I guess a child's version, but it had illustrations of I guess the Promised Land, or maybe it was Canaan. I don't remember which, but it shows humans with these giant fruits, like tomatoes the size of basketballs and stuff like that. And it's like, imagine if we could grow our fruit that big naturally. One tomato the size of a basketball would last a family a week. Salad every night.
I mean, it's stuff they've been working on for a while, and it's just like seedless stuff,
Yeah.
Well, do you want your look? When I eat my watermelon, it'd be cool if it was seedless. I mean, I get seedless tomatoes, seedless.
No, it wouldn't, because it's fun with watermelons. It's fun to spit the seeds out. With pumpkins, it's good to collect this, gut it, and take the seeds out, put them on a pan with some butter and some other spices, and fry them in the oven. Those are all. Have you ever had baked pumpkin seeds? They're really good. They're yummy. That I wouldn't like. Seedless pumpkin would suck. Seedless watermelon would suck. Seedless apple would not suck.
Wouldn't the seeds from a watermelon be inedible?
Yeah, you can eat them, but they just come right on out the way they are.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter if you swallow them. It's not like they're going to kill you or anything.
They're not going to hurt you. You're not going to grow a watermelon plant in your stomach like your mom would always warn when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Don't eat the seeds. You'll grow an orange in your stomach.
Everybody growing out your ears and stuff.
So how would all of these alien stories and abduction stories and all of the whistleblower stories tie into what's going on with this child trafficking agenda that's been going on, and people have been trying to expose, supposedly, like Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington from the musical industry? And is any of that, does that coincide with each other? Is it completely unrelated?
Got nothing to do with Uncle E.T., that's for sure. Matter of fact, I would imagine, if for some people, E.T. probably has a special, how can I say this nicely, a special place for them when it comes to doing harm to certain types of things. It's, what's that, Chris? Well, they do have a moral set. May not be the same morals we got, but they do have moral. They do have values, and they do look at things that we do sometimes and wonder, how can we do these kind of things to ourselves? I mean, for that matter, I sit here and wonder sometimes, how do we do these kind of things to ourselves? But so did they. And when you're trying to have a reason to keep a species alive, it would be nice.
There has to be a redeeming quality, definitely.
That's what I'm saying. There needs to be some kind of redeeming qualities. Well, Jamie, I mean, look, humans are a mess, and and
we've also talked about the reason why we're here, why they let us be here, because they could easily destroy us at any moment. So they're either here because their DNA is part of ours, which is probably part of the equation. The other part may be because there may have been some, catastrophe that was not our fault, or was perhaps an accident of their fault that destroyed whatever life was in this solar system, and they're here trying to reseed this system to repair whatever damage they did. We're told there was the galactic war before the life beings. So maybe that part of that was us getting, our asses beaten in a bad way.
Sorry about that, Jay. Hold on. Sorry about that.
That's cool.
That was Eerie Sounds of Jupiter. I'm just
Yep.
queuing it up, so I got it for later in the see as we're playing stuff. There's a lot of these planets that make creepy, weird sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to keep them. Matter of fact, while I'm saying that, no, not there, done. I got to put down here with Halloween stuff. What's that, Jackie? No, I keep a lot of weird stuff. Obviously, yes. No, I've got them on other, but this is a different computer. It's a
Did you
new
see the
computer.
video where I think they're taking these sounds and they put them, I guess it's through a drum head, and they put sand on it or some kind of dry material that when they put the sound goes through the drum head, it makes a certain pattern. And I think Saturn or Jupiter, one of the two, they put the sounds of that planet through it, and it made one of them a famous mandala from India.
Well, it's weird because sometimes you'll get one and it sounds like music.
Uh-huh.
This is just a weird one, but it's really weird. Yeah, people, it's not just that stars make noises. The universe is much more alive than we want to give credit.
It's a very noisy place.
It is a very noisy place. There's a lot of sounds going on.
I think
out there.
Spock said that.
And
it's so noisy, and a lot of the noises, it just feels like filler, like random, just
white noise would be the better term, I think, is what you're looking for.
Yeah, white noise might be a better term.
Oh man, this is harsh noise.
but not all it is. Some of it's just different. Some of it's really like these weird popping, clicking sounds.
Yeah,
sounds like some kind of weird alien computer going on, and some of them are soft. It sounds like this one we were listening to. Wait, where did it go? Here, let's. This is 42 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. This is the last thing y'all gonna hear before we start getting ready to leave. Besides our closing.
Huh.
Oh well, maybe it's gonna be the last thing you hear because I don't hear. Oh, there it is.
There we go.
This is where Santa Claus lives. Sounds like something out of a 50s sci-fi movie. Wow, where's the volume? I swear it sounds like the Forbidden Planet sound effects. Or something.
Yeah, it does.
That's the sounds of Jupiter. Yes, all those sounds you heard were from Jupiter. Now we're getting ready to go. We got to go. It's after 8. Michelle's doing her thing. I don't know who she got on tonight. I didn't look. Shame on Joe. Y'all go look. What are you talking about? No, I don't want to go look. Y'all go look. Pop over to YouTube and look, or pop over to Facebook and look.
But before we do go, here's a good idea for another show.
What, Melissa?
It's on the screen.
Oh wait! Oh shit! I didn't see it. I'm looking everywhere but at the screen.
Are you looking? Are you able to see it because you're on a computer?
I'm on a laptop. Yeah.
So.
At the bottom of the screen, yeah. So any comment in the comment section over there, we can highlight and put it in the screen with us so that everybody can see it. See, like this one.
Yep.
Would the historical depiction of dragons throughout the centuries in different countries like Japan or Mexico or whatever country, would those be considered alien species?
They could be.
They could be depictions of the reptilians because allegedly some of them have wings, some of them have tails, some of them don't.
Yeah.
And the reptilians, are they able to shapeshift?
Nobody can physically shapeshift, but they can mentally. So we know the light beings can physically shapeshift, but as far as we know, no creature made out of flesh and blood can shapeshift. The ones made out of plasmas and energy can, but the ones made out of flesh and blood, not so.
They can either trick your mind into seeing what they want you to see, or they have a technology like the doctor, like they have a little thing they put on their arm that makes them look human, but they're really not.
Yeah. So the Greys and reptilians for sure can make, like if they were in an airplane, they can make anything around them. Anything that glances at them will see whatever they want them to see. So they can walk through a crowd as it's moving through And as people glance at him, they'll see what he's projecting, or it's projecting, I should say. And that's what they say. It doesn't matter how big the crowd is. Whatever you pick up is what it picks up, and that's what you see. But it's still just a reptilian. So could you imagine like a 7-foot reptilian getting on an airplane?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Through a door that's 5'9", maybe 5'10" high. I sometimes have to duck.
Yeah, I'm thinking he'd be crushing seats and stuff. The grades are famous for it. Because it's kind of like an automobile wreck. You have 20 witnesses witness an automobile wreck. 15 of them give you a different description. Sometimes all of them give you a different description. Eyewitness is not always the best testimony. No. It's got to be something outrageous for everybody's memory to see it the same way. And even then, it's rare. It's people just, I don't know, don't want to see it the same way, I guess. It's like when you watch the videos, and we're getting out of here. It's like when you watch the videos of what happened on October 7th last year in Israel. There's really only one way to look at those videos, but when you ask around, no, people see them differently. No, we'll get in detail on that on Friday night too, but it's not for this kind of show. I just use it as an example, but y'all can ask us on Friday night. Any of that stuff can be asked on Friday night. We will be talking about, are these hurricanes being created on Friday night, or are they not? Cool. Is Leah out there with spinning little magical things to make them happen? Does she have some chemicals she puts together and goes and in the air, and all of a sudden we got hurricanes?
Maybe.
See, she's an alien, people. She might just fly down there in a ship and zap the clouds.
Is it true that if you believe it, it could be real, or there's a lot of things that people believe that just aren't true?
Well, in this life, yeah, or in this universe, but once you get into multiverse, anything is true. From the most horrible thing you can think to the greatest thing you can think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's scary.
It is scary, actually. And
if the multiverse posit is true, there are places that are just as cool as ours. There are places that are 10 times worse. Like
Hellraiser?
Like parallel Earth with like parallel versions of us that haven't died. And in one instance, maybe Hitler won World War II, and it's I don't know what kind of government it would be at that point, but it'd be a tyrannical place to live.
There's just when you get into the multiverse, anything you can think of, bad or good, can be in the multiverse. Yep. Probably is in the multiverse.
Yep.
It's one of the reasons I had to get away from reincarnation, because with the multiverse, it kind of cancels reincarnation out. It's weird, but that's something else we can talk about. What Bruce? Why do I say it cancels it out? Because you're experiencing everything at one time. So why do you need to be reincarnated? That's my point. There's nothing you can be reincarnated on. Well, that's what I'm saying. There's nothing you can be reincarnated here on Earth that one of your other cells isn't already experiencing. So why do you need to be reincarnated? Because sooner or later, it's going to all pop back to one soul. So, see, my main problem with all this is always going to be the same thing. When you pop back to that one soul, when every million, trillion, billion of you all pop back into that one being, what determines if that being is good or bad? Because the experiences are going to be both good and bad. So I just wonder how that's going to work for everybody. I'm sure some people will be all light and happy, and some people will be all dark and evil.
It seems to be the nature of the beast, really.
Are there going to be some? I mean, think about some of the shit that can happen to you when you start talking about it, and think about things you may have missed in this life barely that in the other life happened.
Are dreams a doorway into the multiverse?
Maybe some dreams. I would think most are not there.
I think more a mirror would be such a thing, a portal for that.
Seeing across the veil is when you see across the veils, and most contactees can see across the veil. It just takes a little practice. With practice, they can learn to see across the veil. And there are some people out there that are just naturally good at it. I'm not, but I know a few. Yes, but we gotta go, people. Y'all get me in trouble. I can hear the queen going, bitch. I'm gonna come zap all y'all into Neverland. See, I maybe curse on the show. God, now science is gone. Anyway, we got to get
Sorry,
out of here.
that's all my fault.
That's not your fault. Anyway, we're gonna get out of here. I want to thank everyone for tuning in UFO Undercover with Joe, Jay, and Leah. Leah, Jay, and Joe. However you want to go. It's JJL. Oh, that's right. So she's gonna be Gia now. Oh no, can't go that. Never mind. Can't use that harsh, nasty name.
What?
Jaya. We got it. So anybody when there's more than two, when there's two J's or more, we whoever's the oddball, we give a J name to.
Yeah.
We'll have to think about it, Jay. We'll have to think about it. Maybe Janet, like Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
Go Janet Jackson. I just felt like saying it, people. Don't even write me, ask me why, because there was no other reason than I just felt like saying it. Yes. Sometimes I like saying dumb shit. I own the network. I own the show. Sometimes I just feel like saying dumb shit. But anyway, on that dumb shit note, we got to go. I want to thank everyone again for tuning in United Public Radio and UFO Undercover. I really do hope you enjoyed the show. Any moans, bones, glitches, or complaints, please write to Michelle DeRoche at care of Michelle DeRoche. On that note, good night, and well, be sure you go hang out with Michelle. She's on right now with her compadre Amelia Passano.
Amelia Pisano.
The Pisano Burger Girl, yes. It's sure to have our own Pisano Burger. Anyway, I know we gotta go. Bye, guys.